I am reporting good news and bad news. LTX 2.3 cannot dance. But the good news is
it can act.
I have tried so hard to get LTX-2 or LTX 2.3 to create good motion transfer dance videos, and I have failed miserably. However, I have found a way you can use LTX 2.3 to do good facial motion transfer. So it can act like a Kling Motion Control or a Runway Act-Two to animate the face and hands of a character. And unlike Runway Act-Two and Kling Motion Control, LTX 2.3 can do multiple characters at once. Let's run through some examples and then I'll walk you step by step through my method. Here's a modernized version of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
I hate to think where you'll wind up. You're wasting all your time on unrefined persons without any money. Honey, did it ever occur to you that some people just don't care about money?
And for those who don't care about money, I ran a comparison against Kling version 3 Motion Control on Foul AI. It cost over 12 cents per second of output, and I actually don't even like the output as much, but you be the judge.
Honey, did it ever occur to you that some people just don't care about money?
Here's just a bizarre two-character example, and then we have an anime version of Gentlemen Prefer Blondes.
I was going to crack Malone's head in, but I thought better of it.
What do you mean, better?
Well, we'll have a better chance of getting those pictures back if he doesn't know we're onto him.
I'll get them.
How?
He's a man, isn't he?
The control you get with this method is incredible. I could spend hours trying to prompt my way to getting a character to raise a left hand versus the right hand or look in a certain direction, but with this method you actually get to control micro gestures. So let's dive in and create a video. We're going to be using Wan2GP, which is open source software where you can create AI generated videos and images on your local machine or in the cloud. I'm going to be using RunPod on an A40. If you don't know how to get going on RunPod, I will link to a separate video for that. So here I am on an A40 in RunPod, and the first thing I'm going to do is go into Configuration Performance and then scroll down to the Profiles selection and select Profile 3 Plus. The A40 in RunPod has 48 GB of VRAM and 50 GB of RAM, and on the LTX 2.3 I was finding that I was running out of RAM. So moving to Profile 3 Plus helped that. Scroll down, click Save Settings if you do change the profile, and then we can go back to our Video Generator tab. If you don't have these VRAM constraints, then you can leave Profile 4 as the standard. Then we're going to go into LTX-2, select the 2.3 22 billion parameter model and the distilled version. The video we're going to use for our control video is this short snippet of Marilyn Monroe speaking on the phone. And ideally, we want our start image to be a character in the same position as Marilyn is in the first frame of the video. So to make my life easier, I created this small in-browser only tool where you can drag a video or an image and it gives you a pose map of that first frame. I used the pose map in an image generator to generate a new character in the same pose as the first frame of the control video. You don't have to use a pose map. You can give the first frame of the video to your image generator of choice, Nano Banana, Flux, whatever, and just prompt it to generate a character in the same position as the image. But sometimes I find it helpful to work directly with the pose map. Now that we have a start image with a character in the same position as our control video, we'll drag that in. And then I like to set the image strength to 0.9 to give it a little more freedom to move. And then we want to select LTX RAW formats. I haven't seen this documented anywhere, but from my tests, when using the RAW format, it turns your control video into latent. It downscales it first. And I found that that transfers the facial movements very well, much better than using the transfer human motion option, which creates a pose map. So with the pose map, you're losing that fine-grained facial details. So for body movement, pose maps might work better, but for those fine-grained movements, it turns out that the RAW format actually performs quite well. We're going to drag in our control video. Leave the denoising strength at 1, and then select Generate based on control video and its audio. And then simple prompts for these worked just fine. So I'm just going to say the woman speaks on the phone. And then I want 1080p, 16:9. And then adjust the number of frames to match the number of seconds in the control video. And then I'm just going to set seed at 42. You can skip that if you would like. And then we need the IC Union Control LoRa. That is downloaded by Wan2GP when you download the LTX 2.3 model, but it puts it in the checkpoints directory, not the loras directory, so you can't just select it in that dropdown. So on my run pod, I'm going to navigate to the Jupyter Lab environment just so I can symlink the file to the right place. So I'll show you what's going on in the Wan2GP directory under checkpoints. We can see that we have this IC Union LoRa because I've already used the LTX 2.3 model. It's downloaded everything, including this LoRa. So this is what it should look like after you've at least run one generation with LTX 2.3. And then if we go under the loras directory, we can see that we don't have any LTX2 loras yet. So we're going to open the terminal right here in Jupyter Lab, and we just have to run one command. We just have to symbolically link the file that is in the checkpoints directory to our loras directory so that the application can find the LoRa and we can use it in that dropdown. So I will provide this command. So just run that, and then if we ls, we can see that the file is now showing up in the loras directory, and we see it right there. So when we go back to Wan2GP and we need to go hit that refresh button up at the top of the page, and now it will show up in the dropdown and we can select it. And then we want to set 1:0, and this means in the first phase, use the LoRa at full strength, and in the second denoising phase, don't use the LoRa. I actually found you want to vary between 0.5 and 1 actually in that first phase, because if the control video is too strong, it can kind of peek through your output. And if you see that, then you want to lower the strength from 1 to something like 0.5. I'll show you some examples. And now we are ready to generate. Let's just check that everything is correct and hit generate. Another benefit of the raw format is you don't have to spend the time doing the pose extraction, so it makes it a little faster. And then with the distilled model, we do 8 steps of denoising, followed by upscaling, and then 3 further denoising steps. The generation took 8 minutes, and let's see the result.
No, they weren't there.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. I looked everywhere. And they're not in the camera shop either, because I went in and asked.
Not bad, but we see the control video popping through with the shoulder expanding out to match the outfit of the control video, and we see a phone cord as if it's an old-fashioned phone. I dialed back the LoRa strength to 0.5, and then we see those issues are resolved.
And they're not in the camera shop.
I had a similar issue with the Alien video I started this demo with. The first time I ran it, I did it with strength 1:0 on the LoRa, and you can see that a person popped through when I really wanted a full-blown alien, so I pulled back the LoRa strength to 0.5, and the control video had less strength, and we see more of an alien character, resembling the start image I provided. I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching.